Good evening, you capitalist pigs. You know, there once was a time when I loved my audience. You were the smartest, bravest, most unique collection of people anywhere. Most of you were paper-trained and could take a punch. It's like a circus, except all the bearded ladies are at swim meets. But then, I picked up a copy of Forbes Magazine while I was in the waiting room at my gynecologist. You know, they once loved their audience too, but no more. You remember the magazine used to be focused on helping readers invest money, build wealth, and achieve better lives for themselves and their families. They were bought by a front for China's sovereign wealth fund, but I'm sure that wouldn't influence the viewpoints, right? But now, thanks to Forbes, I finally understand that wealth is actually evil, just like their readers. This from the magazine founded by Malcolm Forbes, a man so loaded he had Fabergé eggs for breakfast. And of course, you know what that means. Capitalism is evil, which means America is evil, which means all of you are evil. Just like Shannon Bream. Yeah, Forbes has your number, terrible people. Let's look at a few recent headlines. Quote, wake up, be woke, and lead the change, overcoming DEI opposition. Here, writer Anelia Ungarasan taught me that my resistance to going woke is due to my fear of change, my fear of losing power and privilege, and of course, my bias and my prejudice. What a relief, right? I thought it was because I'm allergic to Ungarasan, which I think is Mongolian for Brooklyn cat lady, then runs through the ways to overcome this bias, including transparent communication. Sounds like when I talk to Kat on a phone through prison plexiglass. But to the left, transparent communication means sit quietly while I scream at you. Here's another instructive gem from Forbes. Is the war on woke a war on our country's future? Writer Jeff Rakes opines that the right wants to strip gays of their hard-won human rights. And that to conservatives, woke is the new communism, the big scary word to rile up people and hold the fractious GOP caucus together. Yeah, Rakes is so right. I didn't know that all you jerks want is gays not to vote. Have you no shame? I, for one, want voting to be more gay-friendly, like having booths with glory holes. Now, if you think, look, shh. If you think I make too many juvenile gay sex jokes, may I remind you, I have several gay men on my staff. Now comes the latest piece in Forbes to hate on evil capitalists. Mark Travers explains something called the wealth-love paradox. He details some goofy studies that link getting rich with unethical behavior, including their, quote, lax attitude towards rules, their skewed ethical compass, their inconsideration, and their overemphasis on winning. Sounds like my old Match.com profile. But in other words, affluent people are the worst. So what is Forbes at this point? What used to be an icon of wealth is now crapping on the engine that kept them afloat. I haven't seen a magazine insult its audience like that since Playboy featured Rosie O'Donnell. But you know, it's not just Forbes. These days, Wall Street heavily favors donating to Dems over Republicans. So what if illegal immigrants overwhelm the schools? Their kids go private. Your daughter lost a bike race to a man? Buy her a faster Ferrari. Yeah, even our moneyed class has been infected with the woke mind virus. Maybe it was from the 8 COVID shots. So what in the name of Adam Smith is going on here? Well, clearly there's some serious self-hating going on. I haven't seen anyone beat on himself this hard since Carlos Danger. But the truth is, while they try to cloak it in calls for equity and diversity, nothing riles up progressives like American success. For all its flaws, this country remains the most successful experiment in human governance of all time. Nowhere else will self-reliance and hard work be so reliably rewarded. Where else can an African immigrant become the richest man in the world with nothing more than his brain and a hair transplant? Will success happen every time? Of course not. Will it happen for every person? Nope. And sometimes you'll get rewarded even though you're nothing but a drain on society. But look, Not everyone can have a hit book, a hit show, and be sexy at the same time.
Thank you.
No, not her. No, not him either. Who is this cameraman?
My cousin.
Anyway, for all their whiny virtue signaling, what the Forbes crew can't refute is that America's capitalist system is not only why people here can achieve so much success, it's also why America continues to lead the world, even when our current leader sometimes goes astray. And it's why someone is actually willing to pay them to write these stupid cliches. But here's the great news for Forbes. New census data claims U.S. household incomes fell for the third straight year. And as the Wall Street Journal notes, thanks to the high cost of housing and economic downturns, more and more baby boomers are becoming homeless. So whose basements will their kids live in? So problem solved. Looks like Forbes will get its way. Soon the rich won't be able to do bad things because they won't exist. And we'll all be poor, but, you know, really good people because the poor are angels. Hell, if Forbes gets its way, we'll be taking financial advice from these folks. Look, the bottom line, America isn't known as the land of precisely equal outcomes. We're the land of opportunity. And opportunity means you have to work for it. You have to earn it. And here, so many, from so many backgrounds, still can and still do. You know, take me, for instance. I started out as a wisecracking columnist for a small magazine. And now I own 10 slaughterhouses. But it's why there isn't exactly a line waiting to get into Uruguay, except from their neighbors, Paraguay and Loserguay. So you know what? I guess I love you all again. And you know why? Because you've earned your success. Despite what Forbes believes, whatever level of the American dream you've achieved, you and your families are entitled to enjoy it. Starting with tonight's show. Let's welcome tonight's guest. His comedy is to die for, judging by the number of suicides. Comedian Joe DeRosa. His name rhymes with Polumbo, which means he's no Dumbo. Co-founder of Based Politics, Brad Polumbo. Her arms can be used as fly swatters. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor Cat Timpf. And Pennsylvania police found 100 escaped convicts hiding in his shoes. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former NWA champion Tyrus. Joe DeRosa, how are you?
Just great, Greg.
You look fantastic.
Thank you so much.
You know,
I earned this.
You did. You are, I don't know if people know this, but Joe is a small business owner. You run a sandwich shop downtown. What's it called? Joe's Subs?
Joey Rose's, Greg.
Yes.
Yes.
I've never been there. Don't plan to go.
I don't go much often myself either. But I have a nice staff.
Yes. Do you enjoy ruining the lives of so many people with your capitalist values?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here to say I paid a ton of dues.
Yeah.
And I have nothing. But I've earned every bit of it. I've earned every bit of it, but I have absolutely nothing.
Right?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I actually like to, you mentioned the land of opportunity, and one of the opportunities you have in America is to do just enough to get by.
Yes.
And that's what I've done.
That's true.
Yeah, I've done what I feel like doing with a real chip on my shoulder for the last 20 years, and it's been good enough to pay rent in New York City, so I don't give a whatever.
Oh, Joe, you never change.
No, I know. Joey Rose's, 174 Rivington Street.
Yeah. Go there while it's, you know, still open. Brad, what does it say when Forbes is complaining about capitalism? Is it like a zombie product or something?
Yeah, you know what it is I think for a long time we thought the woke stuff would just stay on college campuses, but now we're seeing it leave the campus, go with them into their jobs in corporate America, in big media outlets like Forbes, because I can tell you, look, I'm on YouTube, I'm on TikTok, I see this kind of eat the rich mentality all the time, but they don't realize how blind they are to how much these successes of capitalism are ingrained in their life all around them.
Right.
These folks get Amazon packages delivered to their door the same day they're liking tweets calling for Jeff Bezos to be sent to the guillotine.
Yes.
And what they don't seem to realize is that under capitalism, some people get stupid rich, but they do it unless they're colluding with the government or doing something sketchy. They do it by meeting other people's needs. You know, it's estimated only about 2% of the wealth that innovators create actually goes in their bank accounts. So I wish people like this, they should be lauding the Jeff Bezoses of the world, not bitching and moaning about them.
Yeah, I think Joe can identify with the 2%. Joe, you probably made about 2% off your sandwich shop.
About 2%. That's very generous of you.
Kat, I know this is an obvious point, but there are good rich people, there are good poor people, there are bad rich people, there are bad poor people. The problem with this mentality is the human condition is not reflected by group assumptions, but individual qualities. Yet in the woke world, all we see, or are supposed to see, are groups.
Yeah, there was several paragraphs devoted to how rich men cheat in relationships.
Yes.
Which is an interesting way of letting me know that the author of this person never dated a broke guy. They cheat too.
Yeah.
They got a lot more time on their hands. When they don't have a job, like, you know, you'll be at work and they'll be at work too. In a different way. So I don't know. I mean, it's easier to demonize, I guess, than it is to maybe acknowledge that maybe you didn't get what you wanted to get out of life, which I think people do all the time. And when it comes to a lot of different things, and money's just no different.
Yeah, it's true. You know, Tyrus, I've never been mugged by a rich person, but I've never been swindled by a poor person. So why do we have to continue to talk like these are different people?
Well, we need to, first of all, when rich guys cheat, it's called outsourcing. And when women do it, it's called our fault. So it all works out. This is virtue signaling at the highest form. She's not donating her check each week to the homeless shelters and the orphans. She's sitting up on her perch from her office, sipping her tea, going, "You guys really don't want this. This is such a burden. Be so thankful that you're in the squalor. It's better there. I wish I could be there with you, but I have to stay here and just watch you. This is eliminate the competition, set the bar low. You know, minorities, stop trying to come up. You can't. You just because you're, you know, minorities. You know, and white people, you're racist. And just stick to your plantations and your old school money and your privilege. And don't worry, we'll take it from here." And that's what you do. You set that mob mentality where everyone's at each other's throats and you are just sitting back in the luxury of your first world apartment, just narrating for us. Like, you're not Morgan Freeman. You're a hypocrite. And they all are hypocrites because when something happens to them, then it's an individual sport.
Right.
Because if she got mugged, she wants that guy. He needs to go.
Yes.
And we need to get. And if he was an illegal alien, we got to do something about the border. If he was a brother, like, we got to stop rap music. If he was white, no more cowboy hats. Like, they go. All of a sudden, it's an individual sport, and that's exactly what this is. She's in a very safe place, and she's an equity hire, so no one's going to challenge her because if they do,
Yeah.
they're racist or sexist or whatever. So it's a beautiful time to be a writer right now because there's no checks and balances.
Just add race to every story. Joe, last
I was
word.
just going to say with Syra, it's very interesting. It's like that classic kind of religious hustle.
Yeah.
The meek shall inherit the earth.
Right.
You know, and there's that Zappa song, "The meek shall inherit nothing," which is the real truth.
Yep.
Stay poor, stay wanting, stay needing. It's righteous. Now, look away as I sip out of a gold chalice and don't think about how you can get your hands on one of these.
All right.
And by the way, your sandwiches are delicious.
Thank you.
I just want to let you know.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I had 3 different kinds that were phenomenal.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Greg's never been. Kat's never been.
Well, when you
When
brought
you
them all,
brought
I
him to the
kind
green
of.
room, I did have a
Yeah.
I have always
That
been.
peanut butter and jelly, phenomenal.
No, don't laugh. There's a peanut butter and a jelly
phenomenal.
All right. Up next is something nefarious at play over at the CIA. Good job.
Is this evil?
From JFK to COVID crimes, has the CIA been lying all this time? An anonymous whistleblower, my favorite kind, who works at the CIA is alleging that the intel agency actually paid COVID investigators money to change their view of the virus origins. Well, that's great. I already killed 800 endangered pangolins. On the bright side, you can order a pangolin sandwich over at Joe's Deli.
This is
Mystery meat.
The whistleblower claims significant monetary incentives led the analysts to change positions from originally blaming COVID on a likely lab leak to saying the origin was unable to be determined. Unable to be determined. So it's just like the source of White House cocaine or Joe Mackey's gender. Meanwhile, we are finally realizing the magic bullet theory behind JFK's assassination has more holes in it than Hunter Biden's septum. The magic bullet theory, referring to the Warren Commission's conclusion that JFK was killed by just one bullet and by just one man. A former Secret Service agent who found a bullet in the limo and put it on Kennedy's stretcher is telling the New York Times he's starting to doubt himself and wonder if there really was one shooter after all. As one historian put it, quote, if the bullet we know is the magic or pristine bullet stopped in President Kennedy's back, it means that the central thesis of the Warren report, the single bullet theory, is wrong. And it would open the door to multiple shooters. Or the most obvious conclusion, there was someone else there at the grassy knoll. So, how did that picture get up there? I didn't put that up there. Fire that person immediately. My apologies to Ms. Clinton. Please don't kill me. Brad, I'm always skeptical of anonymous whistleblowers. Would you surprise, though, if, let's say it's not a bribe, let's say it's a bonus or an incentive. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I mean, who knows if it's true? We'll have to wait and see. But I find myself a little bit jealous of the federal government because when I want to pay someone to lie to me, I have to book an appointment with my therapist. And that is not cheap in 2023.
Yeah.
It's really not.
No. I mean, we need some more checks from the government to fund that. But I will say, why is it that the government seems so intent on not allowing us to know what happened, where this thing came from? It affected all of our lives drastically. Yeah. Some people lost their life to it or lost a loved one, and yet they don't want us to know if it came from that Wuhan lab or not because our tax dollars were going to that lab. Mm-hmm. And some people have some, sketchy things. Dr. Fauci was involved in that. I don't think they really want us to have answers, so I wouldn't be shocked if this whistleblower's onto something.
You know, Kat, I feel like I owe, Oliver Stone a massive apology.
It's really hard for me to pay attention to any of this stuff because whenever I hear anything coming out of the government, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
Because it's, obviously they have incentives to put certain narratives out there that are different from the truth. If it's going to be convenient for them, why wouldn't they do it? And with this whistleblower, I don't know if it's true, but if it is true, it's more frustrating to me because, the CIA doesn't have money.
Yeah.
It's our money. Mm-hmm. So that would also mean the CIA was paying people our money to then lie to us. Mm-hmm. That's pretty up.
That is really up. Tyrus, what I find interesting is how the media amplifies these stories, whether it was the 51 intel agents or Operation Hurricane. So that leads me to believe that it's not just the CIA, it's the media, and they might be no different in some instances.
You know what? Some of it we got to put on us.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and journalism's truly dead because no one knows a follow-up question. Magic bullet, he found the one that missed. Mm-hmm. And the guy who got killed was the guy who missed the shot. Mm-hmm. So Oswald was the shot. Mm-hmm. The rest of the guys are vacationing in Miami. We need to start looking at this just like you would interview something in your house. Cal will tell you, when someone's cheating on you, they only tell you just enough, but you already know.
Yeah.
I will tell you why I am so curious about I am not a COVID denier. I'm not a vaccine. I wasn't against the vaccine. But I think the truth about COVID is so dark and so salacious and so explosive, and I think it for one reason. There's no movie about it. There's no movie about it. Every scandal, every crisis, especially that has conspiracies connected to it, there's a movie about it. Immediately. 9/11, the trailers for those movies were out before the second tower fell. They made TV shows and movies about Bush, Trump, and Clinton when they were still in office.
Yes. Oh, so hang on.
Where is the COVID movie? How bad is the truth? I can't. You know how many movies they made about JFK?
Yeah.
It's 22. I counted today.
Yeah.
22, and one of them is 4 hours long. I can't get a miniseries about COVID. How dark is this truth?
We don't
Seriously.
want the Dr. Fauci biopic, though,
I do. Why don't you want it?
because it's just going to be a glowing documentary. They'll just follow him around and smell his feet for 4 weeks.
He has delicious feet. Also will be on Joe DeRosa's menu at his restaurant. Smell the feet. All right. Our video of the day comes to us from GOP Senator John Kennedy, who read explicit excerpts from 2 LGBT books geared toward teens. One is Genderqueer and All Boys Aren't Blue. He did it during a hearing about so-called book bans. And warning, if children are present, gather them around and tell them that Uncle Gutfeld's on.
I put some lube on and got him on his knees. And I began to slide into him from behind. I pulled out of him and kissed him while he masturbated. He asked me to turn over while he slipped a condom on himself. This was my ass, and I was struggling to imagine someone inside me.
Greg, how did they get that voicemail you left me last night?
Wait. I wonder how it ends.
He got on top and slowly inserted himself into me. It was the worst pain I think I have ever felt in my life. Eventually, I felt a mix of pleasure with the pain.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm
wanna go
so
home.
turned on. It doesn't help that he looks like Grandma Clampett from the Beverly Hillbillies. I mean, Kat, we're laughing at this, but that is for kids. And people are upset that he read that in Congress, but they're not upset that that is being given to children. You don't have to be a prude. You don't have to be a moral prude to find that disgusting.
Yeah, the debating, should it be in the library for the kids? Should it not be in the library for kids? Should it be legal for it to be in the library? I think what we're going to have to do is compromise and say the book can be in the library, but only an audiobook read by him.
It was, I gotta say.
That's even better than banning it. No one's checking that out.
Hold on. The major.
Are you going to defend that book?
Hold on. I'm going to say something that's an actual fact. First of all, the book is a memoir. First of all, that's being but that's relevant. Yeah. When I was a kid, they made us read Go Ask Alice. It was horrifying. Yeah. It was supposedly a memoir. It was written by Anonymous. I read that in 7th grade in a Catholic grade school, and it was about a woman getting hooked on heroin and whatever other drugs, prostituting herself, whatever. They're leaving out of the story that this is a guy's memoir, number one. Number two, kids. What age? To me, this is for 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. This isn't for 11-year-olds to read. Or is it? That all seems to be a bit vague. So I'm asking.
Well, I don't talk.
I'll be happy.
I'm also
go.
Oh, go ahead,
Here's the thing. Let's take the gay out of it, okay?
Yeah.
Let's just make that talking about a young girl and boy deciding to have sex together.
Yes.
Still, it's inappropriate.
But what age group is it for? That's
what age group it is for? That is for mom and dad. That is not for school.
Okay.
Because here's the deal. No. Because being gay or being straight, sex is the byproduct of it. The feelings, the emotions, the love, learning how to hold hands together, respecting each other, opening the door for her, open the door for him. Those are the lessons you want to teach. When you get into talking about sex with children, you don't know the maturity level. My 9-year-old is more mature than my 13-year-old. And so you don't, it's a slippery slope. Don't you dare laugh. You don't ever, thank you. You don't, that's not the call for the schools. That is a book. Once you start talking about in and out of things and stuff like that, it is now a race. Because if we put that book in Penthouse, you couldn't put that magazine in the school.
You're right.
You're supposed to have pictures.
I don't disagree. Yeah. I don't disagree with
his memoir is for someone 18. It's a parent to say, I'm going to, because they're going to have questions. Okay. And the worst thing you're going to have happen is a kid is then going to say, hey, I want to try this out.
So again, I gotta get serious as a heart attack here for a minute. As the only gay person here, except for Greg when he's had a few. I find it really offensive that progressives are defending stuff like this in the name of gay rights. Because most gay people, myself included, don't think that it's appropriate to have sexually explicit content in middle school. In some cases, we're talking about middle school libraries, not even high school.
Yeah.
I say these books aren't being banned. The government's not banning them. Any parent can get it for their kid if they want. Let's just leave the sexually explicit content out of the school libraries. And if parents or kids want to go read it on their own volition, maybe that's right for your kid, but it doesn't need to be in school. And gay people were maligned unfairly for decades as having nefarious intentions towards kids. And Susan, with pronouns in her bio, it's always a white, straight, libbed out woman pushing this, saying gay rights, you're not helping.
Yeah.
Stop helping. Normal gay people don't want anything to do with this.
Yeah, and I would add even in the trans arena, it's not trans people that are doing the stuff that you hear about. It's usually activists and Joe DeRosa.
Oh, but hold on.
I saw you at the swim meet.
First of all, I don't disagree with what either of you are saying, okay? My biggest gripe with all of this is I'm tired and it's these absentee liberal and conservative parents out there. I'm tired of parents on either side of this political aisle. They want to be helicopter parents while also giving their kids complete autonomy, while also having everybody else do the heavy lifting for them. You don't want to raise your kids, you just want to have your kids. Your kid is not a car, okay? You don't send it off to a professional at an institution for it to be serviced and kept up with. You need to raise it. So I do think that parents should be having final say in what their kids are able to handle or what they're not. When I was growing up, some kids were allowed to watch R-rated movies, other kids weren't. What can your kid handle?
But they're not in school.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
What's your kid able to?
The whole point.
So I agree.
The sexual act doesn't matter if you're gay or straight. If my daughter was reading a book about what it's like to have sex with the guy that she's loved and they do the same thing, I'm snatching that book away. My gay son, I'm snatching that book away. Because you know what? That's a conversation for us. And I don't want my kids to think showing love and being gay is about sex.
But let me ask,
that bothers me.
We got to go, Joe.
Oh, sorry.
But
sorry.
But I think we can all agree that I look great tonight. Thank you. Thank you. I know I do look better in person. You over there. Coming up, Jussie rears his ugly head to revive his reputation from the dead. Yeah, the world's worst liar refuses to retire. Disgraced actor Jussie Smollett was back in court this week, appealing his convictions for faking a hate crime in 2019. He lied to the cops, the courts, and the American people, and he damn near started a race war. Yet people at the Capitol on January 6th are getting decades in jail while this dumbass is on the street. You know what, Tyrus? If he ends up going to jail, do you think he'll beat himself up over it?
Who, Jussie?
Yeah.
No, Jussie will be fine. Let's be fair. If Jussie could beat himself up, he would have.
Yeah.
He wouldn't hire out. He wouldn't outsource. Now, I can kick my own ass, so I could do it myself. But, and again, maybe if he gets the right training, he can learn to beat himself. Listen, he's not going to stop. Unfortunately, he's going to continue because that's all he can do. He has to love the lie. And you know what? I got a little respect for him. If you're going to go down with the ship, you go down with the ship.
Yeah.
You keep that lie going. He could be like, you're not going to believe this. Went to Chick-fil-A and got attacked again. When will this stop? Hashtag Milwaukee's dangerous. Like, just state to state, see what sticks. Went to San Francisco, got pooped on, and dragged through the streets. Why me?
That one's believable,
Keep
though.
it going, yes. Bigfoot sexually assaulted me. He left footprints. Please investigate. Let's just keep this going.
You know what's funny, Kat, is that, you know, if you're a famous actor, they'll go, hey, I saw you in the Titanic, or I saw you in, I don't know, but they're going to say, I saw you in the race crime hoax.
No, but that's why he's doing this, because what other options does he really have to have a camera on him anymore?
Yeah.
Just the court camera at this point. I don't know why he just doesn't do the 150 days, though.
Right.
Like, it's not like I could do 150 days in jail, and I didn't even do anything wrong.
In a women's prison.
Yeah, well.
Identify as a woman. Identify as a woman. Go to a woman's prison.
Oh, that's all right.
You know,
Again, he's got the same problem.
Yeah.
He can't fight.
Yeah.
So either way, he's in trouble.
I'm not mad at Jussie's lawyers.
Juicy.
Is it Juicy?
Yes, Juicy.
Yeah, Juicy.
I'm not mad at Juicy's lawyers. I don't feel comfortable calling him Juicy. I don't care for this.
There it is, Juicy. You got one.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at Smollett's lawyers for doing this.
Smollett.
I'm going to call JS. I'm not mad at JS's lawyers for doing this. Lawyers are like real estate agents. Their job is to get you the best deal they can. And if you've ever bought a house, you know what I mean. I just bought a house.
Congrats!
And my real estate agent was saying things like, we're going to say that we need the kids with the house. And you're like, that's insane. Like, let's go for it. I think we'll get it. That's what the lawyer's job is. So I get it. The lawyer's going in and trying to get him the best deal possible.
I don't think it's the lawyers, Brad. I think it's just. I think the lawyers would like him to go to jail and get this behind them because he doesn't have any money anyway.
No, and he doesn't have any chance of convincing people that he wasn't lying because when does a hate crime ever so perfectly overlap with your fetish? I mean, you're telling me two beefcake black guys with MAGA hats just degraded and roughed him up out of nowhere? I mean, come on. This is obviously was him projecting his wet dream and then trying to pretend that he got a hate crime out of it. There was way too much specificity here. And I can tell you, liberal gays in particular, they have a thing for Republican gays. It is a thing.
Well, I guess you would know. I mean, I'm not going to question your boner fide. You know, that just came out of my mouth, and I apologize.
Oh gosh.
Listen, when the lynch rope is silk.
It's like, you know what? You know what? He should follow in Lori Lightfoot's footsteps or hoof steps, and teach at Harvard, and he could like teach classes on how to make a convincing noose.
Yeah.
You know what's
silk,
funny
isn't it?
Is because there's a lot of public outcry for like, why don't you liberals who supported him denounce him publicly for having lied? And here's the thing. A guy making a claim like this happening at the time he made it, you know, despite what you think you know and how strongly we felt about what the truth was, it's like calling him out on that is like the equivalent of like when you meet a woman with a big belly. How you go, I'm not going to say, are you pregnant?
Yeah.
Even though I'm pretty sure you're pregnant,
Yeah,
I'm going to just kind of, I don't want the smoke on this right now, just in case I'm wrong.
2020.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that the people that did support him publicly didn't roll over on it because you're like, I don't want to.
It'd be funny if they just did it now.
Yeah.
Or wait like 5 more years. By the way, I was really wrong about that guy.
You know, but the thing is, it wasn't just them. When you're on TV, you're in the green room, and everybody knows it's a lie, but no one has the guts to say it because of that reason.
Right.
Because it's like, what if? Well, yeah, you were.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Every black American knew he was full of. We just didn't want to admit it. But I whispered to him. He was like, Tyrus, you got to speak out for him.
Yeah.
Lynches don't happen in the snow, bro.
Yeah, and you know what?
Neither.
Find one.
Not funny.
Find one. Like, you won't. It's the wintertime. You will hug it up and be racist in the summer. It's cold. The snow brings us all together.
All right. Deep breath. Up next, will cardboard and prose get someone to propose? Woman's sign asks for husband. Cat. A 29-year-old New York woman named Carolina Geetz is going viral for walking the streets with her looking for a husband cardboard sign. If you look at the sign, it's not very good. If she can't make a good sign, how could she possibly make a good sandwich? A sexist would say.
Well, I'm really glad that this worked for her, and I don't mean the husband. I mean the attention, which I am not slamming, by the way.
Yeah.
But I looked at her Instagram, and there's like, she does this a lot.
Oh, really?
She has signs that are like, need money for Cartier, need money for, looking for a sugar daddy was one she did in August, and this was the one that actually kind of popped off. So that's great. It's all
So
fun.
you don't think she's sincere?
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing. What's funny is if she was looking for attention and she does wind up with a husband accidentally, that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
We should follow up on it. She's like, oh, I'm kind of like still looking.
Yeah.
But maybe she'll be married.
You know, Brad, I'm going to do an imitation of perhaps your mother. You're single. She seems nice.
Look, I can't blame her because I'm not single anymore, but when I was, these dating apps are bleak.
Right.
And all of Gen Z uses these dating apps, and it's like doom scrolling. It's this illusion
Which
of
one did you
unlimited
use?
choice.
If it begins with G, then we know it's your fault.
Yeah, well, fair. But I'm serious though. Young people barely
It's so
meet.
funny that you use Grindr and he makes them.
Oh.
Thank you.
And we do have glory holes in our bathroom.
I'm sorry, Brad.
Thanks for coming back.
You're good. I'm just saying though, I can't blame them when you're taken to the streets looking for a date or a husband, because these dating apps are terrible. Everyone finds them depressing. They just doom scroll for hours. They think they have unlimited choice, and they actually don't.
I met my husband on a dating app, but maybe I'm just better than all these other people.
Tyrus?
How many fish pics did you have to sort through first, though?
I met a lot of people who were not my husband.
Yeah.
This insults me. just cutting out all the fun.
Yeah.
Like, trap us like everybody else. Promise us you don't want any commitments. We're just going to have fun, just hang out, maybe get a pizza, and then wait till we decide to part ways and call us and say you're pregnant. Do it the old-fashioned way. Yeah. No, this is ridiculous. Putting your intentions out, that is like raid to any fly. They're going to go, a man's going to go, oh, nope, I'm going to go the out way. No one wants to be instant husband.
Yeah.
You've got to trap us and trick us. That's the American way. Like, beat us down and make us submit.
Yeah.
Do you know that, interestingly enough, Barack Obama had the same sign? According to a letter he wrote to a girlfriend. Okay, Joe, single? You're still single. You're always going to be single, aren't you?
Probably.
Yeah.
No, that's not an insult.
No, it's a badge of honor, and I
Because
salute
you get the ladies. People don't. I know you think that's weird looking at
Nobody
it.
thinks it's weird.
Yeah, nobody in the crowd went, "Aw."
Sorry, I don't believe in an antiquated institution that was designed when women weren't allowed to work or think. Okay.
And they're like,
Sorry, I'm not doing the thing that was built around people dying at 31.
That's why it worked.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm a big believer in being single.
Yeah.
And I was going to say what Cyrus said already. That was my joke. Damn it.
Well, no.
But what were you going to ask me? Sorry.
I didn't have a question, and we're almost over, so you're done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she'd have a better chance getting a husband with a sign that said, "Will work for food."
There you go.
There you go.
Nicely
Bing, bang. Nice end on a laugh. All right.
He hates himself.
I know. I love him. We'll be right back.